If we zoom out a little further and we overlay the US rate of inflation, we know that headline inflation data in the US is heavily influenced by the price of oil. Oil is both a direct component of the consumer price index, but it's also an indirect input for all of the goods and services around us through the energy that it provides to power our economy. And all of this is exacerbated by its volatility. Oil's price is much more volatile than any other major component of the consumer price index, like shelter, for example, that rarely moves more than a percentage point a month. Now, this spike in oil has not yet been reflected by the actual government inflation data for March, simply because the government's data gets released a month later, so the data for March will only be released in early April. But the 40% jump in oil prices is almost certainly going to lead to a considerable jump in the government's inflation data, likely taking the inflation rate up to 3.5 or 4% in the next inflation print. If we're right about this, it's going to completely change how the US stock market is priced. One of the reasons for why we've been so optimistic on the performance of the stock market over the last few years is that inflationary pressure has been consistently moving lower. Lower inflation numbers has been associated with some of the strongest market rallies in history, and it's been our primary thesis for the last 3 years now. But in just a few short weeks, we've radically changed our stance on the stock market because of what's happening to inflation. Inflation is at the center of the financial system. Depending on whether inflation moves up or down, it will make certain asset classes more attractive or less attractive.